Hello, Internet. The title of this video is not entirely true, but telling yourself that you're just waiting for it to happen is also kind of just coping. So, I wanted to talk about this today as someone who's 33 years old and still hasn't succeeded with art or anything creative, blah, 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 blah. So, let's get into it. Now, the term late bloomer is used in a lot of different contexts. It can be used, with people's career, not even creatively, just like with their job. Maybe they find their real path like later in life or having a partner, having a family, all that kind of stuff. I'm lucky enough to have been in a relationship for the past 12 years. So I guess I'm not a late bloomer in that sense. But, you know, I've been making music my whole life and I've been putting it out for a long time. And I still feel like nothing's really clicked fully. And I've thought about the term late bloomer a lot and I've kind of used it for myself in the past, but I don't actually feel like I'm a late bloomer. I think I just haven't succeeded yet. And a big part of why I haven't succeeded yet is because I haven't fully concentrated my essence into my art and put it out there into the world in a way that people can connect with in a real way. Does that make sense? Like, in the past I've been like, "Oh, this style of music is cool. I should make music like this because I'm good at making music like this. So I should do it." But it's not always like what I'm like feeling, or it's not as honest of an expression as it could be. And I think the best way to succeed is to just express yourself as honestly as possible and then figure out a way to market that to people, which is a big part of it. So I would go as far as to say that if you consider yourself a late bloomer creatively, you're probably just not marketing your art as well as you could. And you're probably not a late bloomer. Sometimes people pick things up later in their life. Like maybe you don't start making music till you're like 35. That's not necessarily you being a late bloomer either, because you've been doing stuff for your whole life. It just wasn't music. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna get closer to the camera. I like when this thing moves. I'm back to the moving camera, guys. If you don't like it, you can beep. I'm just kidding. Um, yeah, because even then you're doing stuff in your life. Like you weren't doing literally nothing. So I feel like the term late bloomer a lot of the times is just a coping mechanism for the person who is calling themselves a late bloomer for why they don't have what they have. It's like, well, it can't possibly be my fault fully that I'm not successful. It can't possibly be my fault fully that I'm not rich. It can't possibly be my fault that, I'm not doing the things in life that I want to be doing. So I must just be a late bloomer. But like, how late of a bloomer are you going to be? How long are you going to let that go before you decide like enough's enough? I need to do something and actually like sit down and do it. Because I've been keeping track of how much time I spend like making videos, making music, doing creative stuff every week. It's nowhere near as much time as I would think it is. And that's a huge reason why I haven't succeeded, is because I don't really invest enough time into what I'm doing for it to work out. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, the world is not a meritocracy. Like, when it comes to art, business is a huge part of success, but you have to have something in order to even put it out in the first place. And that something has to be good. Anybody can make good music now. Anybody can make good art now. So that's not really impressive anymore. So there has to be more behind it. It has to be your personal story. There has to be something that you stand for to some degree. It doesn't have to be political, but just like, what are you about? What makes you you? Is it the clothes you wear? Is it the style of art that you make combined with your persona? Like, those are just a couple examples, but there has to be something more in the big package of you as an artist for it to connect with people and for it to be worth consuming as a person who has access to every single piece of music that's ever existed for the most part, every piece of art, every movie, every YouTube video. Like, people can watch anything, they can consume anything, they can listen to any music they want. So in order to get anybody to listen to your music, there has to be something that pulls them to it. It can't just be like, I'm a good artist, my music's good, so why wouldn't people listen to it? Like, I see a lot of people on like TikTok and Instagram Reels promoting their music, and the only thing that they're saying is like, I make music. Like, all right, yeah, so does millions of other people. Who gives a fuck? No one cares. Why would anyone watch your video if you're just like, hey guys, I make music? Like, you have to give them something. You have to give them a reason. And I think to tie this back to the title of the video, I really think a lot of times people who consider themselves late bloomers, and again, this is for myself included. Everything I say on my channel is me talking to myself. I'm giving myself perspective. I'm giving myself insight. I'm documenting my thoughts every week just to see where I'm at. So I feel like if you call yourself a late bloomer, 99% of the time, it's just a coping mechanism for your lack of success that you have determined within your own life. And if you worked a little harder and figured out how to market yourself a little better, you probably would succeed, because that's a lot of times what this stuff comes down to. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you got a little inspiration. I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just trying to be real with you guys and with myself. So if you like this video, you can come back next week for a new one, and I will see you then.